multiple cameras going on here. So, let me just, my background, of course, is I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts and a number of master level courses. I've been teaching since pretty much after college, and I taught all different media. So I've had my hand in many things. I find, for instance, that when I'm painting, I often think kind of sculpturally. A lot on composition, things like that. I'm originally from Maine. I've traveled all through Europe, all through South America, spent months and months. And thanks to COVID, I now have quite a following, nationally and beyond because of Zoom, which opens it up for us. So I really appreciated your society inviting me. Are either one of you going? Well, let's do introduction. So obviously Bridget, and you like Bridge or Bridget? I see Bridges on.
Bridge is great.
I like it.
Okay.
And so what are you looking for in this? Is that I'm jumping in too fast, probably. You want to give a little background? Anne told me you are.
I'm relatively new to art. It was when I turned 60, I decided to try something different and started sketching and taking courses, not even courses. I live in a rural area in Pennsylvania. There's not a lot of options, but we do have one great art teacher that would take every like 6 to 8 week sessions, just 2 hours on a Wednesday afternoon. And every time, then she'd take a month off and usually take tour guide. She was a tour guide as well, take people across the world, and then come back and do another session. And it was from one medium to another. It was from one technique to another. We studied certain artists and that. So for years, I was doing that. And I started really focusing on watercolor and then stained glass and then encaustic. And now I've fallen in love with pastel. So I still consider myself a newbie, but I've been doing this for some years.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, about 70 years ago, I really jumped I found out there was more than just Metant paper and Rembrandt and new pastels.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I worked with since college. That's all I knew about. And looking back, I'm like, oh, I did okay considering. Yeah. And then once you find out about soft pastels and the sanded paper, it's the most versatile medium. I got hooked too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sherry. Okay. Okay, Bridge.
Oh, as well.
A little background.
I did go to college for a little bit and I was unable to finish, but I learned how to paint with acrylics in a warehouse full of furniture. We painted everything imaginable, furniture, pool tables, desks, you name it, trunks. It was called the Art House, and it was a lot of fun. But I learned a lot of core skills from that, and blending and all that, and worked on a lot of drawing skills as well, because people ordered custom pool tables and we would, like do a safari theme table or a golf theme table or baseball. Anyway, that was about 20 something years ago. And then just been at art, painting with acrylics off and on. And then started teaching kids class at the gallery in downtown Claremont, which really got me more into it. I did illustrate a book right before that in watercolor. So I've worked in just about every medium except oils. And then in 2014, I stumbled across another artist's work in pastel, and I was just mesmerized by the light that was in these paintings. Just ridiculous. I was like, how do you do that? I want to do that. And I just started kind of looking into it, took a class at the gallery. Didn't really learn very much because it was kind of one of those teachers where it's kind of like, here's the stuff you need, start dark to light, and then bring a paper or bring a photocopy of something that you want to draw. And then he had the people like tracing it. I'm like, what? That's cheating. So
cheating.
that's how I felt back then. I mean, I get it now, it's a time saver, but I drew everything by hand and all that, but really started getting into pastels then. Like you said, Rembrandt was kind of like a very step up from the Mungyo little set that I had of half sticks, and started, looking into other papers and stuff. He had us using velvet paper, like, the velour paper at first. And I thought I liked it, but then once I found these other papers, I was like, oh, wow, I like this so much more. And there's so much more. And then I realized they came in a pencil form, and that just kind of blew up for me. But ever since then, I mean, it's been almost 10 years, and different artists have kind of been a muse for me along the way. And I love where I'm at now, but I really want to loosen up more. And I think I'm just on the verge of doing that in my work.
Well, when you mentioned the pastel pencils, I thought, she likes really detailed work, and that's not really my approach, obviously.
I'm very detailed.
Wonderful, thanks. Hi, Jane. I thought you weren't going to make this morning.
Well, I put my doctor's appointment. I put this on the calendar the wrong day, so I can make it, but I've got plumbers at my house, so I may have to pop in and out a little bit.
That's fine.
But I'm glad I didn't have to just miss the whole first day.
Good.
Sure.
We just did a short introduction, a little background and your journey into pastels.
Am I supposed to go this now?
Yeah, it's your turn, Jane. I'm sorry. I went in when Bridge went. Now it's you. Sorry. Just come right in.
Well, I started out when I was in the fourth grade. I did a poster for the door of the classroom, and my fourth grade teacher thought I did such a good job that she called my mother to come down to the school and see it, and everybody bragged. So I decided to be an art major. So I didn't get the major. They didn't have studio courses where I went to college, but I did get a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree and concentrated in commercial work. So I did that for a couple of years, and then with children, I quit and then went back and taught art in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, for a few years, and then went back and taught English second language for a few years, and then I retired, and I'm still trying to get time to paint since I retired. But I started out with colored pencil, watercolor, and now pastel. And pastels, just love it, absolutely love it. So that's what I want to pursue further.
It's amazing. Excellent. Yeah, we were saying how once we discover pastel, we just kind of jump into it. I mean, it's just wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Sherry, are you there? Are you here?
Is Sherry there?
I see her name.
I
saw her face for a little bit, but I thought she wasn't going to make it either.
And I wasn't sure she was going to make the first day, but maybe she.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I can barely hear you. There you are. Hello.
Hello. I am, like Jane, a retired art teacher, and retired from teaching digital media arts in California, and came back here and found Jane in a parking lot at a workshop. And she said, "Where are you all from?" And I went, "Well, I live so-and-so. I live down the street. We can ride together." And so for that year, I think we took at least one workshop a month. And we bought supplies right and left and organized. And she would come in the wintertime and have my seat all warmed up in her car. And we'd go get a sausage biscuit. And we just talked yuck, 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 all the way to and from. It was really great. And she signed me up for colored pencil. That was good. And then we did watercolor, and now we're in pastel. And both of us really like pastel a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I have this theory because when I was in Maine and I was doing I did all medium, and I taught for over 20 years as well. Also languages, Jane. So, you just walk into art and languages.
Did you do second language too?
I'm sorry?
I don't.
You broke.
English is the second language. Is that what you did?
Oh no, I did teach through 4 years of literature, but then I went into French and Spanish, and it's hard to get an art teaching position. So when I finally did that, I muckled onto that one.
Good.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was going somewhere and I just totally forgot where I was going.
Oh, I wanted to say, okay,
Please.
Jane
Yes.
mentioned how she got started in art.
Yeah.
I majored in chemistry because it was hands-on and you could blow stuff up. And I took an art class just as a easy elective, and I was taking biology. And whatever I learned there, we were drawing things under the microscope, and everybody raved about my drawings. And I thought, maybe I'd be good at this. And I went home and told my mom, and she almost fainted. You will get your teaching certificate. Oh, yeah, mom, whatever. And so that's how I ended up in art and teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a teacher. It doesn't help much on the retirement, but that's okay. I loved it. I so loved it. Yeah, my thought came back. I've got to take notes, I guess. I got to write this down. I'm heading back to Maine this coming Monday. Going to stop in DC and get to see all the museums for a little bit. But that's what it was. When I was in Maine back along, and I was painting mostly in oil, and then I had to stop because my ex-husband, he would get headaches every time I pulled them out, even if I was in opposite corners of the house. So I lay oils aside and went into watercolor. My mother was a watercolorist until I really discovered pastels, and that got me really excited. But I have this theory, because there anyway, oil painters and watercolor societies are very tight, and they're very almost judgmental. It's hard to get into galleries, and it was just hard in Maine. And I started when I was teaching, where I ended up had a potter's wheel, and I'm like, well, I ought to learn this so we can use the equipment. So I took pottery and then into pastels. And my theory is that people who work and enjoy working with the earth, with our hands directly on, like gardeners, potters or clay workers, and pastelists. I mean, we're the ones that get our hands right into that dust. And I have just noted that they're more accepting, more open people, more welcoming and encouraging. So it's kind of a little theory of mine, those whole groups, I think. So I love pastels. And for sharing, Jane, you came in a little later, but it's a small group. So I'm going to try to aim it toward what you would like to have covered. I'll do some little exercises to get us going, get us warmed up quickly, and then start trying to focus more on what you folks, especially in the afternoon. That sound pretty good?
That's
Pretty
great.
small group. Yeah. I want to show you my easel, the way I've kind of set this up. Where's my camera? Whoop. There. That's interesting. I had it all set up this morning and it was very close. Now it's backed away again. I don't know why it's done that. I know, it's like you get it all set up, you get other people on there, and the whole thing wants to do something different. How's that looking?
That's better.
That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder why it switched the camera like that. Backed off. Okay. So this is kind of what I have for some of our exercises this morning, and I tried to describe it when I emailed you, but I have 2 sets of 4. So we'll kind of do one at a time. I've just kind of quickly put them up easily. So here, just to work through some values.
Okay.
And no matter how advanced we are, I think it's always a good idea to go back to the basics. You look at your professional players and dancers and sportsmen, they always go back to the basics. They still have to do those warm-ups. And I think that can get us going. Here we're going to work on color schemes. So if you have some paper set up like that, I'll do some quick examples and then give you a chance to paint, because that's the best way to learn, of course, is you actually doing it yourself.
Okay.
So we'll work kind of on one area at a time. I'm looking to do different values. Color schemes, what I mean by this is today we're going to base it on the traditional triadic color wheel, red, blue, and yellow.
Okay.
I have a color wheel up here, and I sent you a couple, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. I am in a place, I'm at a friend's house, and she doesn't have a color printer, so I didn't get mine printed up, but you folks have it, so that's good. That's why I'm the traveling artista. I'm always all over the place. So we're going to work with some monochromatic, analogous, complementary, and triadic. Then we'll do some before our break, hopefully, or right after break. We'll see how far this gets us. And if it gets close to noon, if you would just let me know, because of course my alarm is on my phone, which is my camera that's on my easel.
Okay.
So we'll play it by ear, and if that works.
Yep.
We'll do the exercises this morning, work in, we might do that third exercise this afternoon, and then work into you creating your own painting. So do you pretty much have a setup similar to this, some sort of divided?
I don't have it set up just yet. I have the papers out and tape, but I didn't put it up yet because I didn't know how you wanted.
Do you want to take like 5 minutes, everyone, and kind of get this set up? Okay. I'm sorry?
Last night I couldn't. I said I'm not set up either, so that's good with me.
Okay.
Carolyn,
yes.
do you prefer a darker background, paper, or white, or?
It's up to you. I just happen to have some dark paper.
Okay.
Yeah, because it can work either way. This is actually that paper. I'll talk while you folks are setting up, but please set up. It's that sandpaper that I got. It's a wet dry sandpaper. It takes the pastel wonderfully. It's a lot like a 500 or 600 U art. So I like the texture of it. It's wonderful for exercises because you can use it quickly and not worry about using up your really good paper. I was really pleased recently that my friend, I found out she's now gone full-time into watercolor, but she had acquired a giant roll of Kitty Wallace paper. And this was like 15 years ago. And it's just sitting in her closet. So she let me cut it up. Not all of it, but she gave me a couple pieces, and I'm going to do some larger paintings. I'm excited about that.
That is awesome.
I know. I was like, Kitty Wallace. Oh my goodness. She bought it, I was 10, 15, 20 years ago. I know it was a while back. 20 years ago. I remember because she still had the invoice in it. She split it with her pastel instructor. Giant roll. It's about 5 feet high, 4 or 5 feet high, and it cost them $200 back then.
Oh, wow.
They split it. I know. Now you can't even get it today. My favorite paper right now is Lux Archival.
I need to get some of that. I keep hearing that being used, and I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, it's one nice thing about Lux Archival. Here, let me spotlight for a sec. Is that it doesn't curl. It has a very similar texture to UArt.
Okay.
Usually UArt 500, 600 possibly.
Okay.
Yeah. It's wonderful. Of course, it only comes in the buff colored. It's very light. So often if I want, I'll do underpaintings to really get some sort of tone in my background before I get going. But it doesn't curl. You know how UArt, even if you tape it down, sometimes the edges try to curl up. And it is a little more expensive, but there's always DakotaPastel.com. if you're not familiar with that. Dakota is the place for almost all pastel supplies and information. They have sample packs. So if you want to try something, I'm writing it down so I send you this information.
Okay.
So I'll email it. They have these sample packs, I don't know, $20, $25. So you can get a number of different small pieces of paper. You can do the same with pastels. If you wanted to try a different couple brands of pastels to see what they're doing if they're not already in your set, that gives you an idea without buying a whole set of something. And they're very generous that way. I like that a lot. I do use pan pastels often for my underpaintings.
Are we going to be using our pan pastels this morning?
Not necessarily this morning, but if you have them on hand, I have mine off to the side. They're not open at this point, but I just thought I'd have them there. I use them mostly for underpainting. That's my main focus for them. A lot of people, as I said the other day, they'll use them as finished.
Can you put the camera on your setup again?
On my setup, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I had it so it cropped out all the background, but now it's not. So I don't know why. Yeah. That's a little better. So I just take a piece of paper, I tape the edges down, and then I just run a piece of tape across the middle just to divide it up. These are small, which is good when we're doing a study because we can do it quickly.
Yeah.
And all of you are experienced. I've been teaching some absolute beginning pastel classes recently. People that have never even picked up a pastel. It was exciting.
Yeah. Wow. Where do you begin when nobody's, or familiar with pastels? Wow.
You just, yeah, it's fun. I start them with the inexpensive mungyo. I know Laura Pollock the other day talked about getting the hand rolled. Those are the good ones. You can get some inexpensive, and they do quite well for beginners. And this sandpaper, and I just start with some exercises, kind of like what I'm going to do with you this morning. This also helps us set a foundation so I can see where you are and gives me a good understanding where to go next.
Awesome.
Carolyn, for today, are we using more hard pastels or soft pastels?
I have a variety.
Okay.
For these morning exercises, we're going to go quite quickly. Do you have your hard and your soft divided?
I do, yes.
Yeah. I do have a set of new pastels that I keep usually to the side of this, but I don't have that out today. I don't even know where it is right now.
Okay.
I was doing a color fast test on new pastels last year. I haven't finished the video on that yet, but there are some that fade.
Oh.
Yeah. After, what did I do? Like 2 months in full sun. The pinks and some of the purples tend to lose color.
Would that happen even if you're just using them for accents?
Well, eventually, if they're going to fade, they're going to fade. Yeah. So I've just been cautious with that. I try to use good pigment pastels, but that takes time to get there too. I know I've done a lot of, I reframed a pastel painting I did 30 years ago. I thought, I want a different frame on this. And it was one of my favorites. And I pulled it off. And it was basically Rembrandt pastel. And where I had a mat on it, and I took the mat off, it had faded quite a bit.
Wow.
But it had been 30 years and I did not have, UV glass on it.
Right.
Now, if I have a good painting, I'll put the AR 70 water white glass. It's I can send you the links to that too if you'd like. Lost my pen. Anti-reflective 70% UV. And that I'm in a group of international group of pastel teachers. And we've been talking about this all through COVID. We started out helping each other how to set up to do online teaching. And then we've continued to carry and meet together and talk about things. And people will go like, oh, museum glass, but museum glass. And a couple framers are in the group, say, like Nancy King Mertz, for instance, and she's a framer herself. And she doesn't like the museum glass because the coating is more than you actually need, and it cuts down the ability to see the painting through the glass. So this AR, anti-reflexive, 70% UV.
Okay.
How are we doing? This is looking good. And you've got light paper. Can I ask what it is? I'm just curious.
It looks archival.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Just for little sketches? I love it. You're bold. It's awesome.
you know. But I fell in love with not only the texture, but the fact that it doesn't curl is just makes so. I got so tired of putting backings on the other one.
UR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and they're both workhorses. I mean, Lux Archival will take anything. It takes a beating in liquids, almost anything you do to it. It's really wonderful.
I do like it.
And for a bigger piece, my bigger pieces, I'm going to get them mounted before I paint on them.
Yeah.
Just because once you do a large piece, trying to get it mounted after is not.
Okay.
I'm going to look at bridges. Yeah. Oh, you've got Color Fix?
It's Art Spectrum.
Art Spectrum Color Fix. Yeah. Jane's moving, so she's on the move.
I've got the black 400, York 400.
You are at 400. Nice. Interesting. I'm glad you're using black tape. Everybody's using black or buff tape and not any blue tape, because I always give a lecture about the blue tape. That's nice. Oh, sorry, Sherry, you're moving around. So I'll get this. Blue tape, when you have a color, as we know, you could have a beautiful painting of grays and very soft. If you put a bright blue on that as an accent, it's really going to affect the whole painting. It's going to make the grays seem more complementary to the blue, more in the orange area. So if you have blue tape taped around your painting as you're working, that's affecting our color perception psychologically in our brains. And we would automatically make adjustments to that. So that's I tell the people to use your blue tape for other things. All right. We ready? Let me show you what I have. I have pulled out, I need to find my iPad. I guess I have to turn it on first. This is kind of my big set. I'm traveling. This is a travel set. As you can see, I arrange them, value, dark to light. And then basically in the color scheme, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. This kind of works nicely that way. within each one, for instance, my greens, this will be my warm greens on the yellow side and my cool greens toward the blue side. It's kind of logical. So I'm also kind of working across. As I get working, it often gets, mixed up. You know what I mean? So you can set things down. I try to put them in the same spot after I pick them up. I always have a rag in my hand. So after I've used it on my artwork, I will wipe the pastel. This is in my left hand. And I wipe the pastel before I set it back down. I also do not pack my box too tightly, because if you do, it's going to be difficult to get the pastels back in. Those are just little things I do to let you know. Over here, I have my pan pastels. They're not ready to go, but they're in their palettes. I love the palettes. That works nicely. My sponges, and this one I threw in the washing machine with my rags and my jeans. And these I just wash by hand. So you can wash them when they get too heavy with pastel.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. They are, let me see if I can show you. I don't know if this one will work or not, sorry. You can see a little bit that the sanded paper is eating up the sponge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So eventually that happens. I tend to use one side as my light side, and then the other side is my dark side, so I can work quickly. And I was told by a college professor, use the largest tool possible for as long as possible. So this is the largest soft tool sponge that they have. So that's the one I tend to like. And you can still get very thin lines with it by kind of turning it on its edge. Here's the pastel I've chosen for this morning. I'm sorry, I don't have a tripod for this.
Should we pull those out now?
We could do it both ways. You could watch me and then pull it out. What would be best for you?
I think I watched
okay.
you and then pull it out.
Yeah, let me go through my demo. So, because I have my iPad out, sorry, I'm going to just bring it over here. So you can see on this side, I have values, and we're going to do all the values. We're going to do a high key sketch, a mid key sketch, and a low key sketch. That'll be the first exercise.
Okay.
And I have chosen grays for that, just because it's classic. Then we'll move to color schemes, and we will do a monochromatic, analogous, complementary, and triadic. So my first two choices here are my grays. I have some shades, darkers. I have some midtones, and I have some tints. Let me find do you all have something like this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, these are really great. Couple things you can do when you're choosing your colors is hold, like if I'm looking for this particular, gray, where is it on the value scale? You can move it until you find about what's the closest area to it. Another thing you can do is take a picture with your phone, go into edit, remove all the saturation to see how your values are working.
Okay.
Do not use like in some of the edit programs, they will have turn this to black and white, but that does something different.
Okay.
Right? It can adjust it adjusts the values differently. So the best thing is just to remove the saturation. I could take a picture of all of this, and I don't know if I can share. Sorry, I'm looking to see if I can share screen here. I'm not used to using my iPad much. We were talking about this earlier. No. Okay. But I would take a picture of this, turn it to black and white so I can see if my values are accurate. So here I'm going to use the values, and then in our schemes, I just chose randomly to start with blue. And then that's for the monochromatic, and you can choose any color to start with. Then for the analogous, I pulled in some blue greens for the next exercise, and then these oranges are kind of for the complementary scheme. That's just to show you how I approach this. So, makes sense? Sometimes I wonder if I'm making sense, but I think we're good. I'm going to use my, what did you folks, how many people brought their own photos to work with this morning? Like for sketching?
I did.
Yes? Okay.
I did not. I'm going to use yours.
You're going to use mine.
I was bumping up water last night. That's why I'm not ready. That's why the plumbers are here today.
Oh no,
Oh,
Jane.
Jane,
Was it
sorry.
pipes or what?
It was the refrigerator and the sink all at one time, all in 1 week. It was just a mess.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, Anne told me that she left all her water outside. Anne, what happened last night for you?
We ended up with 10 inches of snow.
Where are you?
I'm in northwest Pennsylvania.
Oh,
That storm that came across the country.
yeah, we
Wow.
got cold weather,
But it's almost gone now.
It melted that fast?
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
But it was good
All right.
packing snow.
Heavy, so you can make
Yeah.
like snowmen and stuff?
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
very
love
heavy. It caused quite a bit of accidents.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. I'm down here in Western North Carolina in Asheville in the mountains. And if there's an inch of snow, they just stop. They don't know what to do with it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Mainer. I'm from Maine, and there'd be 1.5 feet, and we just like, yeah, we can get through this. You just flat through it. So starting, should I use the tree? I can draw with the tree or the apple. I just gave these because they're fairly simple subjects that are quick and easy to work with. I worked with a tree the other day, but partly I use these images because I'm so familiar with them that when I'm doing an exercise and focusing on value or color, I don't have to stop and think about the image. It's almost like muscle memory for me, the image. So that's partially why I do that. It's basically why I do that. It's funny, you get talking for a long time, things get kind of crazy. So if we're talking about doing something that's creating all values, and I know this is review for most of you and got a couple of teachers in the group. So I'll start with a tree, but I'll just lay out very quickly. And again, using the largest tool possible, I will lay the stick on its side and let it do the work. This is one thing that Zoom doesn't do. It doesn't, you can't, when you're on the program, you can't zoom in closer to your paper. So very quickly, I have that done. I know that it's the darkest area. This is a black now in my painting to come. So I'm going to work in this situation kind of dark to light. There's a house in the background. I'm going to take the flat side of my pastel and take this edge at the top so it creates its own V, like a roof line. So I set it at the angle of the roof line, and then I'm going to pull it this way in the same angle of the other roof line. So very simply, you must have a house there without doing a lot of strokes. There's another little building off to the side here and kind of a small one over there. So if you step back, you can see that the painting is already coming together. And that was in my still mid-range of the grays. You might want to lighten that up a little bit. The sky. So by using the side of your pastel, you cover a lot of area very quickly. And it sets in the value of the overall painting and how each element works with the other elements. This is one of my this afternoon or later this morning. I think it'll be this afternoon when we do the limited strokes. Smaller pieces like this work very nicely. You can work out limited strokes very quickly. I'm only putting that in the point because it kind of pops it up. So this one has almost all your values. I've gone from my dark all the way to my light. So that's my full value range. The next one, I'm going to do high key. So I'm going to start with a tree as like a middle. This is actually one of the middle values of the tree, of the grays that I had laid out. That's supposed to be my darkest. So now I have to work up from that. I don't have a good sharp edge on that one. That's all right, we'll make it work. Higher value still, but it's very close. So I'm seeing that I need a little more contrast. Even though I'm doing high key, I'm going to need to pull that down a little bit more as it's my darkest section in the painting. That one. Keep track of which pastel you've been working to do what.
Oh, that's
So this would give you, I mean, it's in grays, but it gives you a sense that this is a bright, shiny day. Everything's awashed with sunlight. There's really no deeps in there. There is some of the paper shining through, that darker there. I need a softer white, this one, like this. So quickly, you can take a quick look and say like, okay, that's basically a high key painting. And it's quick here. We can do this and we'll go into color. This will apply when we go into the color aspect as well. So if I just, yes? I'm going to use a vine charcoal here because it's dark, but it's not black. Midtones, get the tree in. Get our little house in. Drop the pastel. Oh, I lost my tree a little bit there. So you're getting the idea, yes?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I don't need to spell this all out. Quickly, kind of mid-tones, and then we're going to do low key. So we start dark and we're going to stay dark. This is what the approach you would use for nocturnes. Wait, let me see how value. Okay. Hear the scraping of that? This is one of my homemade pastels. They end up being quite gritty sometimes, even more so than a Richardson. I often include beach sand in my pastels. Well, I get thinking about, the old troglodytes that lived in caves, and when they did cave paintings, what did they use? They used dirt and sand and ochres, and often with a nocturne, you just want to add a couple places where, say, the moonlight is catching on the branches to really pop out. I mean, that's not in your low key value area, but it helps it to look more low key, to making sense. Just by a little contrast. I'm going to bring this down. So very quickly, we can see we have high key, light, bright, and shiny. This is kind of middling. This is kind of thing you want. If there's like a fog happening, you can bring some fog across there. And then your low key, which is going to be much darker. Should I go into the next or let you guys work on that? Or is that?
Let's work on first.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Thank you. So pick out values. You can use, oops, here's my values again. Some dark, middle grade, and your high key. Let me know when you're ready, because I'd like to time you on these.
Oh,
We're going to do about, how am I going to time you? I don't have a timer on my phone. About 3 or 4 minutes to each of these once you get going. So if you do the tree, maybe what I did, throw in the branches, get that house corner down quickly, and then move on to the next one.
Tara Lynn, does it matter
Yes.
the lighting that we have in our photo if I'm using my own photo? Because mine is a bright sunny day. And there's like no
No, it
clouds.
doesn't matter, because that's why I turn it to black and white. I often work from sketches. By doing that, you're free to use any color scheme you want, any value, you can push it. So comparatively speaking, if it's a bright sunny day on yours, find the darkest value and then the lightest value. Do the overall value scheme, from light to dark. The next one, maybe start with the darkest, and where it's light, it's going to be light anyway, and move up from there.
Okay,
am I making sense?
I was pulling the saturation out of the photo, so I've got that. So you said start the first one, we're doing all the values, and then
yes.
So I'm not doing the high key after that, or how do you begin the high
Here, let
key?
me show you again. Can I do this side by side? All right. So for the first one, you want from your blacks all the way through your white.
Okay.
All right. So here's the darks, mediums, and lights. So I lay it out this way. Then for the first one, you want to use all of those values.
Okay.
For the second one, sketch, you want to keep it all down in this area only.
Okay.
For the high key, mid key, and then the low key, except maybe adding a little highlight at the end on that low key for a nocturne.
Okay. All right, I'm going to pull those pastels out then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. My tripod for my iPad broke. Time to get another. I know Bridge was just getting her colors, but everybody else should probably be at least onto your second little sketch. How are you doing?
Right.
I did this with my absolute beginners. And when we did the color schemes, they were like 5 minutes, and they were kind of getting freaked out about it. And then because they had to work so quickly and intuitively, almost, it came out really nicely, and they got excited about it. One reason we do this type of thing is because before we go into a full painting, or I don't know what to call it, serious painting, whatever we want to, you want to take all of the elements that we're going over into consideration as elements that are going to build toward creating the painting and drawing out the viewer emotion that you want. So many artists will look at a landscape, if they're plein air, or a photograph, and our natural inclination is to get sucked into that and copy the photo or copy what we're looking at. We want to, as artists, interpret it through our personality and our being. And value and color are two powerful elements to do that.
All right, I've got my black and white.
Quick, Mom.
So are you sketching with Vine charcoal or are you using the
I
black?
started with Vine charcoal because I'm so comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Lay it on its side. You who love to use your pencils, use the largest side as you can. You know, so you're getting a full swash. Like if I came here, just I'm going to go across this, but just I'm using the whole side, and I cover a huge amount of the paper quickly.
Oh, okay. I think mine is willow. I need to get something that's a little thicker.
No, willow's fine. Willow, vine, doesn't matter.
I just don't want to break it.
Mine's about 2 inches long, and I'm working on, what is this, like 3 by 5 maybe.
Okay. And we're just lightly sketching it with the charcoal and then going in with
Just lay it in. I start with the tree.
Okay.
And I just kind of lay it in using the side of my pastel. Works very quickly. Not the point. So we're using our pastel sticks as large areas covering the paper. Yeah, you're still using the tip of it, Bridge. Just try to lie it down on its side.
Okay. I'm like dragging it, but it's here, let me just show you.
Is it too thin? I'm just looking, thanks.
It might be really thin, yeah. Just
well, let's see, we're doing full value on this one. Grab just a black or a very dark gray pastel.
okay.
Yep. Think of the direction of the tree. How is it growing? Which way are the branches going?
Okay.
Swoop it. Nice. I'm just going to peek in on people. I can't see the other easels.
Okay, getting there.
How are you doing?
I'm not sure how I'm doing.
Oh, good. No, Jane, that's great. Yes.
Okay.
And I want to look quickly. I want to see the yep, using large areas of pastel stick. That's great. Instead of like drawing with it by using the side, we're painting with it and throwing in a huge amount of pastel on the paper. Okay, and I'm coming over I like the smaller group. Nice, very light, very good. Try to make your tree and things a little bigger. Fill that little piece of paper.
Filling it, okay?
Yeah, be bold. Fill that baby right up. Hey Sherry, how you doing? I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I think
Whoops, wait, try again. I messed up, I think. Sherry, you're on mute. Yeah,
Okay.
good.
I am struggling. I've got a picture behind myself.
Yeah.
And I can't get it so that the camera sees the easel. That's just one of my problems.
Are you on a?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so when we take the break, I'll fiddle with it some more. But right now, all you see is the backdrop of me, whatever.
That's a setting on your Zoom. That's a Zoom setting.
Yeah, but where do I go for the Zoom settings?
For this particular one, everybody's drawing. You should be at least on. Go under. I would go. Whoops. Sorry.
Preferences.
I go to stop video. What device are you on? Is it an iPad?
No, I'm on a computer.
Computer. Okay. Go down to the lower left, stop video. Don't stop the video, but see where it has the little video camera?
Yeah.
Beside your mute button. There's an up arrow beside that.
Okay.
You do that and you get a pull-up screen menu. Check on video settings on that. Do you see that?
Okay, check on video settings. Okay.
Okay. If you click on that, you should get a window of yourself and it says general video audio. Do you see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Go to background and effects.
Uh-huh.
And now
there, I got it.
You got it. Okay, yay.
Okay. So now I'll get this better.
That's okay.
My issue that I have is number one, I didn't have my colors out, and number one, I didn't plan on being here today. So
I know. Thanks for being here. We're glad to see you.
Oh,
good.
I didn't get this vertical.
That's all right.
Yeah,
that's all
whatever.
right.
And I don't have all the range of the grays, and but I will be better organized after the break. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you've got, let's see, you've got a light, a middle, and a dark.
Yeah.
Good.
Jane is going to help me with this later.
Jane might need help herself.
Do you know that, Jane? Okay, the next one is your
what
midtones.
Here is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we should be on, if you've done your light and your midtones, Bridge, you're going to have to work faster.
Okay, sorry.
It'll be good for you.
I feel like I'm not doing this at all well. Oh well.
It's new and it's okay. Look at Jane. See how she's got kind of all values. She's got from the light to the dark and the middle tones. Here's her light one, so it's light, light, and light. Now she's moving into her midtones.
Now, what's the third one? I don't remember what that one is.
That's your mid values.
Okay.
I'll show you.
So I've got
here's everything. Here's high, middle, and low.
Right. Can you leave that up there for a second?
I can, yes. I was just checking what people were doing, and that's.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. If you need to.
No, I checked on people. We're good. Moving along.
I'm having trouble with the sun being in
Right
on my pastels, and I can't tell what color everything is.
Oh yeah, that's why I have the screen down here today, because you can even see I'm all washed out. The sun is so bright. I've lost my light tone guy here. So simple shapes. The tree is just swish, 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 a couple branches below. Lay a pastel for the roof, lay it on its side, and with one stroke, you should get a good amount of your roof in there.
It's hard for us to not think we're painting a masterpiece.
You are not. This is just a quick study, quick sketch.
But your brain kind of wants to get everything nice.
Exactly. We fight that all the time. We're like, we want to make this great picture. No, just you have tree, house, sky, and sun. Boom. 4 simple elements.
Sherilyn, in the low key one, do you actually use the white for the?
I just use it as a little bit of a hint of a moon.
Okay.
And a couple highlights on the tree branches because it makes it more of a nocturne. I mean, you could leave it all dark, but by doing just a hint of that, it makes it feel darker.
Yeah, you're right.
That's kind of the exception to that whole rule. But
Yeah.
this is an exercise we don't often take ourselves back to do. Right? And it helps remind us to think clearly in values. And then we're going to think clearly in colors as well.
Ooh, yeah, I've never done this kind of exercise before.
Oh, excellent.
This is all new to me.
Yay. It's good. It's fun to think this way. Okay. Try to finish this up. If you're finishing, anybody finishing? Yeah, this Bridge, this is like it's a oblique strategy. Excuse me. What this does is it sets us when we're learning something new. Just a moment, I'm going to clear my throat. When we're learning something new or we approach something in a different way, like instead of painting with your right hand, you paint with your left hand, it helps the synapses in our brain to work more efficiently and to make new neuronic, is that the word I want? Neuron connections. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Keeps us going and growing and, learning, and that keeps us young. You're still young, but as we get older.
Not all of us are young.
Bridges, I think. She's younger.
Oh, I'm hanging on to those 50s. We'll see.
50s?
Yeah.
No, I didn't peg you for that. I thought you were much younger.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've got a 21-year-old and a almost 24-year-old.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
I'm getting to the point where now my birthdays are kind of like, yay, I've made it this far. It's getting proud of being old. I'm going to turn on my
birthday too, but we won't say how old she is.
Oh.
No.
Come here.
Sherilyn, on the mid
Yes,
on the mid one, do we do the darkest dark or no? We stay kind of like just in these values?
This, can you see my arrow?
Oh, hold on. I'm looking at your example. Hold on.
Right. No, that's all right. I put it on the example, but the dark on the mid one is actually not as dark as the one that's up here, but because what's around it is lighter, it makes it appear darker.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So remember when I showed you the choices on my palette?
Yes. So I'm trying to go like that.
Yeah. Oh, I have to turn my camera on. Then you've got them already laid out. Spotlight. Oops, that's my camera. So you would just limit yourself to these middle sections.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's why I do it this way. And that way I could, like if I'm doing a low-key painting, like, okay, I can only choose my values that are up here. Whoops, that's going to make it low key. This will make it mid key. And it limits us because, yeah, we're very tempted to go back and do everything.
Yeah, for sure.
And we don't necessarily want to do that. Not if we're looking for a specific effect. Wait, I think I just did something wrong here.
So I think on my second one, the high key, I went too dark on the tree.
That's all right. Just move on to the next one because we've got color coming up.
Okay. I'm on my last one. Let's see. Let me go there.
You're on your mid key? Yep. Just lay it in quickly. Again, just tree, house, sky, and sun. 4 simple elements.
I want to look at your example again, but I can't pull it up.
I'll get it. Hold on. I'll spotlight it and then it'll pop up easier.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Oh, low key.
If you're pretty much done with these, as you're thinking ahead, pull out a color, and it doesn't have to be the same color I am using. Choose a hue, red, blue, green, yellow. Just choose one. Lay it on the side, the palette. I mean, you have your big palette, but then you have your choices out. And from that one color, choose 2 or 3 shades, darker of that color, 2 or 3 middle tones of that color, and 2 or 3 tints or lights of that color. So I chose blue. I just happen to choose blue. And I have like 3 dark blues, 3 middle blues, and 3 light blues. I'd like to take a quick look at the ones that we have so far too, as we're kind of finishing up before we move on. If you can just hold it up and we'll take a look. How's everyone doing? Yep, hold on a moment. I'm going to do one at a time. So Jane's ready. So I'm going to look at Jane's. Yep, so we have a full value, light, mid, and dark. Very good.
Good.
What color are you choosing for your next approach?
Me? I have no idea.
Oh, go pick a color and lay them out in the value tones as you did before. Anne, can I come over to you?
Sure. Can you see close enough?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, high, middle, and low. Good. You have a lot of the white showing through, but that's lightening everything.
Yeah.
With the Luxar cup, you can use this paper again.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm glad
It's like, oh, these are just little sketches. I can wash this off and start over.
I have noticed I've been using mostly new pastels and they're not going on very well.
On the Lux?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I normally use them just for an underpainting, so maybe I don't care, but
yeah,
it's not covering.
Interesting.
I'm going to change and use the soft for the next one.
Okay. What else have I got? Bridge, how are you doing?
I'm done with the first 4. It's not
Okay,
going to
can
get
you
any better than
switch
that.
that a little bit? Hey. Okay, you have light, mid, and your low key. Those are good. Yep, and the full
Okay.
value. Great. Start it. Now that paper doesn't take fluids very well, does it?
The art spectrum?
If I'm remembering. Yeah.
Yeah, I hardly ever use it. I normally use pastel matte or Gator board or UArt. So
Yeah. I have
I
a
don't have
chart, and I think it's put out by Richardson, that tells which papers do what well.
Okay.
I'll send that out to you folks too, if you haven't seen that. You can, you could take the tape off, sorry, and take like a pan pastel sponge or people use pipe insulation and blend this in and paint over it. You know what I mean? Get most of the pastel if you wanted to use this paper again.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because oftentimes little quick sketches we don't really want to save. You might not. Sherry, how are you doing?
Okay. I have managed to get the rectangle here, and now I'm going to start with the different stages I need to do on there, but I'm getting there.
Oh, well, for the color, no, because oops, you got your black and white one, right? So we're going to go into the color next.
Yep.
You showed us that. That's good. All right,
Okay.
I am going to switch to replace spotlight. Move all pinned. Okay. All right. You ready so if you pick up your color, I am going to check the time. I started, as I said, with the blue. If you have 3 of each value of the blue, my next idea to be would add an analogous color. Let me repeat what I have done for you. Start value, spotlight, spotlight. Okay. So I chose my blues, dark blues. I'm showing you now, middle blues, and my light blues. My next step was to look at, I'm going to switch this over. Sorry, I'm going to flip it over. Was coming over to my color wheel. So I've started with the blues about here. So the next thing I would do for analogous, my analogous painting, is pick something in that family of colors. So I happen to go with the teal. And that creates my next choice line. So I have the blue, and then I have a teal, darks, mid-range, and lights. And I've chosen extra. I just said 2 or 3. You don't need as many as I have. And then your final row will be a complement of that. Going back to the color wheel, the complement of that blue is in the orange family. So I come back over, I start with orange, my middle range, some dark oranges are basically browns, and then some tints for my light range. So here I have it all laid out. I have a basic color. I can go with the analogous, and I can add the complements to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, just do 2 or 3. I have 4 in some cases. You don't have to do that.
Okay, we're doing the same thing, but with tint.
Choose a color.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had
That's all right. Choose a color. I chose blue. You don't have to choose blue. Choose a color. Add shades, 2 to 3 shades of that color, 2 to 3 middle values of that color, and 2 to 3 tints of that color.
Okay.
one to do that. And then I'll just kind of walk through what I'm going to do with those.
Oh, we
How are
aren't
we
supposed
doing?
to. Okay,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Whoops, why am I on this one? This is the one I want. How are we all doing out there? You have some colors kind of ready to go?
Getting there.
Okay. Don't be too particular about them. This is just a quick exercise. All right. Now we have our 4 color schemes. No, I'm sorry, back up. We have our 4 values schemes. All the values, high, mid, and low. As we move into the color schemes, you could do 4 monochromatic paintings, all of the values, high value, mid, low. You could do them all. But we're going to kind of jump around. So when we go into our monochromatic, I'm going to stay only with my blues, that row of blues, that the column, sorry, I put it in columns, but the column of blues, and I'm going to use only those for this. This is monochromatic. So I'm going to start, I just happen to start with my darks. See these sweeping branches? I'm using the whole side of that pastel to create a sweeping branch. My next value down according to my photograph, which I had lost, is the grass in front. So I kind of quickly throw that in. And then the house is in the background, a bit lighter, not that much lighter. And then my sky. So even though the original photo, which you don't have the color one of this was a very warm sky. The tree, of course, is very gray-green, but I can take it from a black and white photo or a black and white sketch and create any particular feeling I want. I want this bluish, cool day. And by doing that, it creates a certain effect as somebody looks at it. All cool, all like that. Notice I only use like 4 sticks. I'll wait a little bit on that one. Normally in a finished painting, you wouldn't leave it with just blues like this. You would add a little bit of something else in there to kind of balance it out. But for our exercise sake, you can see the effect that would have when you look at that one compared to the one that's right beside it. It feels more wintry, more, that coolness just comes down nicely. That color. Yeah. I swished over this one with the fine charcoal. Vine charcoal and willow charcoal, they're about the same thing. They're just from the sticks of different plants. But they are directly from nature. What happens is they'll take twigs from those plants and they put them in a special kiln to just burn them without burning them thoroughly. It just slowly cooks them all the way through. where any of your other pastels is pigment that's ground up to a very light powder, and then you add in the binders to create it. If you look at the inside of a vine charcoal sometime, many of them, you can actually see the center of the stick, that central, I don't know what you call it, in the middle, like a little thing. This is looking good. Oh, you guys moving along, fast, fast, fast. Don't think about it too much. The next one is I'm going to go analogous now. So I'm going to kind of start very similarly with this one. Get my little tree, the dark in there. And that was my dark blue. I'm going to bring over a little of the teal. This one's the teal, to kind of blend in with that. So even though it's dark, I'm not sure if you can see, but I have two colors on that. We decided the next value up is the grasses, and I can either go with the blue or the teal for the grasses. See how quickly I'm just getting it in there? Because at this point, I'm not making a painting, I'm studying the value and the color relationships. The house is next. I'm going to go with a mid blue for that. Let it peek through that tree. If you're not sure if you have a good value comparison, hold it, just hold the stick near what you're going to compare it to. I want to see if this stick is lighter than the house, and I think it is. So I have so many lights. Yeah, so that's working well. Isn't it amazing how each color and each brand is totally different? Even if you had the same brand, each pigment, because it's different types of dirt and other things, has its own personality when you put it on the paper. And the best way to become familiar with this, which one does what, is just use them over and over. Just paint, 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 paint a lot. Do not blow like I did. And then for the light, I'm going to use the teal green for my sun. I'm not worried about it looking like a sun. I just want it glowing behind that tree. That's all that's important to me at this point. This is kind of a mid-tone value range of the analogous colors, the family of colors. Analogous colors are anything on your color wheel that are adjacent to each other. So these are analogous to each other. Up this way, you'd go from purple up to the reds, that's analogous. Maybe the purple into the orange, analogous. So any little section on your color wheel is analogous colors. And they work nicely together. They are kind of in the same family. They make each other happy. They make me happy. I want to get a little more teal up into that sky. Basically I'm just glazing now, just skimming across the top of that blue. And what this does is it brings a little of this green and ties it around in the painting very gently. if I want to make this more of a, you can watch this while you're working. You can also watch this video a little later. I think I want to bring this up a little higher. This tree is a little dark. If I was looking for a lighter value theme, I can just bring some of that middling blue over that, lighten that up. Yeah, that kind of changes the feeling of that painting. How are we doing? Jane, I'm coming in on yours. What?
I said, you tell us how we're doing.
Yeah, I guess I'm coming to see how you're doing. Oh, I like that. So you're still in Analogous? So you used the blue, the teal, and what's that purplish? Is that a purplish?
Purple, but I think it's too dark. I think I need a lighter value there.
No, that's okay. So I'm going to ask you that. So you kind of started here and you've kind of gone both ways this way?
Yeah. Was I only supposed to be direction?
No, that's fine. Just double checking. I think that works very well. Yeah, nice. I like your tree a lot.
It doesn't look much like a tree. I'll work on it.
Yeah, I like his personality. Nice. Yes.
It's a Halloween tree.
Okay, here's Bridge. She's got her blues, and then she's got her Analogous. So it's the blues and the teals. I go see Anne, and then we'll do the Complementary one next.
Okay.
Anne's still working. You seemed, Anne, just to try to work faster, use larger areas of your pastel instead of the tip of it.
Okay.
You know, lie it down, huge swashes of color. Sherry, I'm coming over. Nice. No, you don't have to move it. We can see. Oh, look at you. Thanks. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on to my complementary scheme now. And I'm going to kind of keep starting with the same area. So I'm going to start with that blue. But let's push this. This time we did it kind of mid-light. I'm going to go, should I do a middle or a deep, like a low key? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, do that.
I'll go into low key.
Low key.
So I'm starting with a dark low key. Can't wait for that movie to come out. I love him. Okay, so we've got some darks in there. And I'm thinking complementary now. So this time I'm working with the blue. I'm going to leave the teal aside because that was part of my Analogous color scheme. And I'm going to jump over to the oranges. So I have my darks in the tree. I'll throw in a little dark orange, which is basically a brown. The house is my next value up, and I'm trying to keep it low key. See, I almost started going into my lights, but I want to keep this lower keyed. This one, I think. Do you see how as you draw the same image over and over, it becomes a little quicker and easier? You're not thinking so much about the tree in the house anymore. You're thinking about the color. You see that? I don't like that too much.
So why did you do the house with the blue and then put the orange on top?
I just put a little orange on top. It got a little too orange, so I'm glazing it again with the blue. Now, because those are complementary colors, when you step back, as the video basically steps back, it becomes a gray. There are two uses, basically, for your complementary colors. One is if you put them side by side, they intensify each other. It's like adding spice. The second is if you blend them together or layer them, they neutralize each other. and it becomes more of a gray. And by doing this, instead of using a gray, if you use your two complementary colors over each other to create a gray, it's a more interesting gray than a pure gray stick, because you have those two complementary colors shining through each other. And I'm at complements, so I need a little more grass, low key. I have to keep reminding myself what I'm doing.
I thought you were going to go all like in the oranges, because that being the complement to blues.
It's
I didn't
coming.
know
I'm starting with the blue. We decided to keep it fairly low key. So I'm going to bring in the sky. I made the decision that my tree and building would be kind of in the blue family, and that my sky is going to be in the oranges.
Orange, okay.
I have chosen low key. You can do this in the mid or the light keys as well. See how many options you start having? If we limit our palette, sometimes it wakes us up to other possibilities. Wow. I mean, I would never think of painting a painting like that. But it works really well, so why wouldn't I? That's one thing. You get these little studies, you go like, oh, and we're going to do that maybe this afternoon. It's like, oh, I like this. I want to do a full painting with this color scheme and this value.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Doesn't it? Yeah. I didn't expect it to look that way. If the orange is too orange, I can get a blue in the similar value. If I'm going to layer this, like here, I layered two colors, the complementary colors, the blue and the orange, but in similar values.
Right, okay.
You don't want to take a dark and put a light over that. It's going to kind of turn it to mud. So now I need to check here. I think this is closer in value. Now I can skim this orange with that blue to neutralize it and soften it just a bit. See how that seems richer now. And if I were going to do it on this orange too, I need to do it in the similar value to that. If you're not sure if these two values are similar, this is where, if you're not on Zoom, you could take a picture of this, these two colors, turn it to black and white, take out all the saturation of color, and you would see if they're the same value or not.
Okay.
That's not showing very well. I apologize. Are you having fun yet? I keep you moving, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, can we breathe yet? No, that's what lunch is for.
I'm getting tired.
Okay. Well, we only have one more small one before we
I'm teasing
take a break.
you. We're just
Okay. It's intense because you're learning something new and you're working at it and you're standing, which we're not used to standing all the time anymore. And yeah, this is intense. Like when I was asked, do you want to do a 2 or 3 day? I'm like, people get tired and you get saturated after a couple days.
No, I was just teasing about being tired. Well, I mean,
okay. Oh, it is. I'm going to add in my fence. This needs a little spark down here. So I'm going to come check around. Woo, Jane, that is powerful. Wow. Woohoo.
It might be
Love
kind
it.
of, but it's complimentary.
Yeah, but see, look at the power in that one. Let's see what Bridge is doing. She's getting going. Okay. And working faster. I love this, everybody. Looking nice. And where
Had to warm up. Cold up here
Okay.
too.
I'm coming, Sherry. I love Sherry. She's ooh, wow. Intense.
Let's see it.
So your sky is darker than your building. Was that your intent?
I don't know. I don't know where I am anymore.
Oh, okay.
I don't see myself anymore.
We can see you.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I didn't quite have an orangey orange right now.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So
That's why it's a little darker.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
good.
have color. I'll have more color after break.
Yeah, I'll let you know a little before break, kind of what we'll be going into this afternoon, so you can prepare while you're eating or something. I want to, now my next one, which I have not pulled out my colors for this either, is I want to do a triadic color scheme. Triadic, if I start with my blue again, triadic would be in the triad. So I'm going to be doing, this is not your typical color wheel. Yeah. This color wheel is the one we're going to be using tomorrow. So, but we know what triadic is, right? We have blue, yellow, and red. So again, I'm going to start with my blue in the tree. I think I'll go high key this time. So my darkest dark is going to be fairly light. And I have to work up the value scale from there to get lighter. Blue, I'm going to throw in a little bit of the sky. Do some of that blue. Come back to that. My other color is going to be, they're covered up here. Yellow, which I'm going to have to pull from my full palette. High key, now that I have my big palette already set up from shades, midtones to tints. So it makes it easier for me to choose. I'm staying in my mid to high key. This is a red. My lamp on the side here keeps getting in my way. Okay, we good? And yellow. I will do yellows in the sky. Mid key yellow. I'll do that blue. Huh. Okay.
Can we move your easel so we can see what you're doing?
Am I not? I'm on spotlight.
It's not on your painting.
I can see it.
I can
I
see
can see it.
Oh, in the upper left-hand corner. Okay. I got it. I just saw
Well,
your hair. I saw your hair.
Okay. No, if you've pinned, don't pin me. I'll control the spotlight. So don't anything that's pinned. Here, let me bring it back up again just to make sure we've got the right. There.
Marilyn, can you kind of describe how we're supposed to go about picking out the colors for the
Right.
Triadic
Again.
again?
Yep. So I started with the blue
Uh-huh.
and the triad of the blue, red, and yellow, right?
Okay.
Your primary colors. And I decided to go with middle to tint, so middle to light key.
Oh, okay.
So as I choose those colors, my darkest is that middle blue that you see here. So it's all, this is kind of a high key. My complementary one was kind of low key, and this one is more high key.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it in that range.
Oh, mid to high. Okay.
So we're making conscious, pre-planned choices with our colors. So for that tree, I'm back on the blue. I'm going to take a similar value, and that's not the same value, over the red. Skim that slightly to gray it down because I'm combining two colors. See how that becomes more gray? And the sky. I've got a funny bump in my paper. Same value. I'm going to pick up, I wanted to add a little warmth into the sky. And I'm looking for a red that's a similar value to that yellow. That's pretty good. Because again, if I chose a deeper red to skim over this yellow, it's not the same value. It's more apt to turn to mud. I do that. Deep. Get painting and we become almost focused on the image so much that it's important to try to hold on to decisions you made at the beginning. Oftentimes what I will do is I'm going to say, okay, I want this to be a triadic color scheme and I want it to be high key. So I would write on a sticky note on the side of my easel, high key, triadic color scheme. I would keep notes. So as I'm working along and I feel like I'm getting too unconscious about what I'm doing, I can refer back to my notes and go, nope, I need to focus on this. This is the decision I made. And to keep this painting in keeping with itself, I need to remain faithful to those initial decisions. Well, that's interesting. I think I'll bring some of the yellow down into these grasses. Kind of glaze over there a little bit. That is not my favorite one, but it's interesting. Those are the primary colors in the classic color wheel. My favorite triadic color scheme is the secondary colors, which are purple, orange, and green. Those are a great combination. I just took my paper stump and just kind of blended together some of this. Not really doing too much. I'd like to see that blue come up a little bit more. Bridge, you're moving a lot faster than you were earlier. I love it.
Yeah, I typically can get going once I'm warmed up.
Yeah, nice. Very good. So you have your monochromatic, analogous, complementary, and your triadic.
Yep.
Which of those do you feel drawn to the most?
This one, the complement.
The complementary?
Yeah, I just love those two colors together. Well, the oranges
Nice.
and blue.
Yeah. I like that too. Sorry, just thinking. I think I'll hold off for this afternoon. No. People are still painting away. Bridget, sure. Jane coming in. Oh, nice. Woohoo. Look at those last two. They're so different from each other. That gives you some great choices. I mean, I'm thinking normally you would not choose these color schemes.
No.
No, right? Which would be your preferred?
Oh, I like complementary too.
You like the complementary. I like that one. It's that orange is just brilliant. I mean, that's
yeah.
And your house is a glaze. It's a blue with a red glaze over it. Orange glaze.
It's orange with a blue glaze over it.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about the other one.
Oh, what? This one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's orange with blue.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little light. The blue I think you used on that was light. You seemed to be like you were trying to keep it low key. Yes. And it got light.
Yeah. I didn't have to play around with whether it was the same value or not.
Yeah. I would try this with that one. Try that blue that's in the bottom, the grass area. No, on the red. Yep, that one. And the red that's in the sky. No, stay on the lower left.
Well, your left.
Is that not your left?
That's my left.
Yes, that's what I'm talking. That one there. And for the house, just do a blue about the blue that you have your finger on, and then a lighter orange over it for the house. Just really quickly. Just try that really quickly.
Oh, I just put the colors back.
Oh, sorry.
No, I can. This is it, I think, or something similar.
Yeah, just a light glaze over that. Yep. And then maybe a little of that, the lighter orange that you had that's behind the tree.
This one.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know if I can find that one. Well, we'll try this.
Disappeared. Something close. Sounds good. And just glaze.
It's kind of big.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, see, that's bringing it down because you brought the values of those two colors down. That blue before was so light, it was popping that up a lot.
Okay, I see what you're
Nice.
saying. And I'm not sure this is the right value, but it's still taking it down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
My good
Okay.
huh? Nothing. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Sherry. All right. Oh, nice. So the lower right one is your triadic color scheme. Yep, you are on mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That one.
And you were working more full range, mid and light.
Oh, I'm not sure, but okay.
Okay, you gotta hang on to those decisions you're making. So before we'll do it on the next one after lunch.
You know, I have to
yes.
say, you know, I've taught color theory. I know all this crap, but I don't, and I don't practice it, and I forget it, and I forget about toning things down with a complement and brightening it up by putting them side by side. It's just like, oh yeah, I forgot I could do that. You know,
We
this
can
is
do
really
that.
a great review for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. And again, it's like, you know, those athletes out there and they still have to do their laps and run around and we have to keep in shape. And it gets us thinking again. Oh, look at Anne's. Look at that bottom right one. That magenta is just.
That's my favorite. Yep.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I would not have normally chosen
No, no. Isn't it great when you start with one thing and you go like, okay, like sometimes I'll randomly pull out, I'm going to switch the spotlight, this, and I'll just kind of close my eyes and see where the color lands and say, okay, that's my starting color. Now, what scheme do I want to do with it? Do I want to do a triadic, complement, split complement, tetradic, which is 4 colors? So sometimes you can just do that and you'll come up with color schemes you normally wouldn't use. And you can see how exciting it can get. And you go like, whoa, this is out of my comfort zone, but how much fun you can have with it.
I have a question.
Yes.
I found as I'm choosing the colors, I forgot about the values, especially of the house. So the value of this is, well, this is too dark. Should have been a lighter value.
If you wanted it in a high key color, I mean, a value scheme, yes, right.
I'm looking at the values on the black and white photo. The house is a lighter value than can't find mine now. It's it's a mid value here.
It's meant, right. But we're just using the picture to just kind of do as a takeoff. And now we use that. Now you're so familiar with the tree, the sky, and the house, you can choose, do I want all high, all low, and kind of forget the picture.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the values that are here.
No, we kind of started there, but we've moved on from that.
Okay.
Now, as artists, we're taking control of different elements. Instead of just kind of going with a picture, we're trying to create something a little unique and new by our choices that we're making.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Good. All right. For this afternoon, 2 things we'll do. I would like you to choose your favorite from this morning. And a couple of you already said which ones are your favorites. Like I would probably use my complementary one for some reason. That just came out really cool. Choose a larger range of those colors, whatever color scheme you want. Like if I wanted this one, I would you choose the color scheme. Then you need to choose your values that you want. You know, here's my colors, the blue, the orange, that's complement. So that's what it is. Do I want them all low values or do I want it high key values? So you have a range of those to work with this afternoon. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, so that's the first thing. And what we're going to do, get another 4 sheets like we've had this morning, ready to go, and we're going to do limited strokes. That's our, whoop, I lost somebody. That's our first thing we're going to do is limited strokes with the same colors, all 4 pictures. So we'll do one, you know, take your time, kind of, I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes to do that. The second one, whatever you think it took you 200 strokes to do the first one, the second one, you're going to try to count 100 strokes, and then you're going to try 50 strokes. And then we're going to go down to as like 20 strokes to say the same thing about that painting in as few strokes as possible. So
Can we choose
over break,
a different photo for this?
you can use a different photo, choose the color scheme you'd like to work with, and the value scheme.
Okay.
And lay those out ready to go as I've kind of laid mine out. And you're going to stick with just those colors. I'll check them when we get back together, and you'll show me which colors you've chosen so we can talk a little bit about that. And then we'll move into that exercise. After we do that, we might spend just under an hour on that. After, we are going to do a painting that you want to do, your image, following that same approach. Let me say that again. So first thing this afternoon, we're going to do 4 quick little studies with your favorite color scheme and value. And we're going to do limited strokes, fewer and fewer strokes.
Okay.
Then you're going to choose the photo you want, and we're going to do a full painting for like an hour and a half, sticking to those decisions. The colors you've chosen, the values you've chosen, and fewest strokes as possible before you start picking at it. No picking.
Will something very simple work for that? Very simple, like an apple or something, or a pear?
Yes.
Or that? Okay.
Of course.
Oh, okay, good.
Of course. And if you get your finished one done faster, maybe you can start a second larger painting. So the smaller ones like we had today, and then I would choose a 11 by 14 or 8 by 10 at least for your larger painting this afternoon. Pulling everything we've done today, we'll pull it all together.
What size paintings, paper should we use for this afternoon? Not for the larger one, but for the small.
Kind of the same thing you just used this morning.
But only in 4s.
Yep. I mean, this was it. We did the value study, we did the color schemes.
Yeah.
Now the third grouping of this is going to be the limited strokes. So I have mine kind of ready. So this is what I'll use first thing this afternoon. These 4 over here. This is for tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I've got some papers down here for the larger one.
So you want us to have it in the color scheme that we're choosing from what we like best here?
Yes. Choose one of those. Get your colors ready. Don't go into it yet, but get your colors all ready.
Okay.
And then take a break. Get off your feet if you've been standing. Get something to eat. Lots to drink. Fluids. I need fluids.
Yeah.
So I wear these. These are my readers, because then if I go this way or this way, I can still see my computer. You ever seen somebody with progressives or something, and they're looking up like this to try to use? Any other questions? You can use the tree, you can use the apple, or you can use one of the others, but we're going to simplify it this afternoon.
All right.
I am sending, do you already have the same links? You all have the links.
Yes.
You're going to use link number 2.
You have balloons.
Who sent me balloons? Thank you. Was that you, Bridge?
No, it wasn't me. I wish.
I don't know who sent me balloons.
I wouldn't know.
Was it you, Jane?
No, I wouldn't know how.
I don't know how that happened, but so okay. There's our timer. Let's
Yep.
come back just about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Have your
Okay.
paper ready and your pastels laid out. If you want to put a little sticky note on the side of your easel to remind you to stay focused.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Carolyn. See you
Zoom
later.
number 2. Zoom
Okay.
number 2. Thanks.
Good. Happy birthday.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. See you later.